Hello and welcome to another Dragonstorm Studios video. And today we're going to look at a drawing that I completed last month actually for an event called Magictober. Now for those of you who follow the channel, you know that last month I also created 4 videos for Inktober, which is a celebration of the Halloween season in art form. But with my videos being the length and work they were, I wasn't going to do one every day. I did, however, take part in that Magictober event, which was a series of prompts given out by Wizards of the Coast, which is a company that creates the Magic the Gathering cards. And several of the drawings I did for that event, I actually recorded as well for videos here in November. Now, this particular drawing I'm going to work on today was prompted on the 12th of October, and the key word there was festival. So I kind of racked my brain a little bit, and when I think of festival, I thought actually originally of the Harvesttide Festival that was part of the game's lore, and that was really cool. It had a wicker sort of sculpture which burned in an effigy, and so I thought, well, Wicker Man was a movie that came out in 2006, starring Nicolas Cage, and that's where I kind of went with the drawing. There's a card also from that same set called Innistrad Midnight Hunt of a stuffed bear, and that made me think of the bear costume that Nicolas Cage wears in the film. So the kind of percolation of ideas kind of dripped down from there, and so I decided to find a picture of Nicolas Cage I liked. I was going to draw it, and we're going to do that here today. So I've got the head. I've got my usual steps in creating the shape of the head, and we're going to add some facial features here as well. And in this video, I took a little bit more time to show those facial features as they developed in terms of how I got the angles, and took a bit more time to show in jump cuts to make it a bit faster how I get all of the facial features in the right spots. And that's where the video begins here today. So full disclosure, I didn't actually see this movie when it came out. In 2006, I was certainly more into action and comedy and science fiction films, and Wicker Man was billed, I guess, more as a horror film. It had lots of jump scares. Some were actually very effective. It had some good setup and payoff with the allergy that Nicolas Cage character has. I'm not going to get into spoiler territory at all with this, even though it is an older film, just because I don't know what sorts of film background my watcher base has. But it had some really good parts to it. But the parts that stood out most were a little bit more on the comical side, and the tone really did shift quite a bit in this film. I think the movie makers wanted scenes to have impact, but much of the jump scare and much of the impactful moments, in some cases literally, just came across a little bit too farcical, a little bit too cartoony in terms of how they were set up and how they were delivered. So it had some problems in terms of pacing, in terms of tone, but on the whole, it's an interesting movie, and one I'd recommend to go see, if nothing else, just for the cultural significance of it, in terms of memes and in terms of knowledge, zeitgeist, as it were, of the public out there. So as per usual, I have my blending stomp, which is just some paper that's been rolled up into a stick form, and I'm using it to help me with the shading. For those of you who have not seen my videos before, it's just a great way of getting some of the more delicate, some of the more intricate and hard to reach areas shaded and smudged in nicely. And it just also allows you to take some of the hatching, some of the areas that you've kind of laid some base of graphite down on, and just to spread it out to lighten it as well, to make it a little less harsh. And that just creates this wonderful 3D effect, which usually ends up creating a really nice contrast and grayscale in your work, which is absolutely fantastic. And as always in my videos, in my drawings, I take a lot of stock into making sure I know where the light source is and creating shadows that are appropriately placed. Darkening beneath the chin and jaw in particular is a great way of achieving that particular effect. In the film, as mentioned earlier, Nicolas Cage wears a bear costume at one point, so I found a picture online and I decided to kind of just block out at first where all my major lines and the edges of the costume are to try and get that effect created here in the image. The important part, of course, is being aware that the bear costume itself is going to add some more shadows to the work. So I've purposely drawn Nicolas Cage to look very, very straight in this particular image. He's playing it straight. He's looking very serious, despite the fact that he's going to have this wonderful bear costume on, and also being aware of light and dark on the suit itself. So, knowing where the eyes are is important, certainly, but also shading around those eyes is going to be important. Trying to get the idea that you have a fuzziness to the bear costume is also very important in the picture itself. You'll also notice that I've done some work on the background as well. I've got the Wicker Man there burning away. So the dark areas are areas which have not been burned yet, and the fire itself is a lighter effect. So creating some of that light and dark in the background is very important also. And I've got a candle in the foreground as well, which is going to add a bit more depth to the scene. You've got foreground, middle ground, background, and the Harvesttide Festival in the Magic the Gathering universe has lots of candles in the imagery, so I decided to throw that in. This next part I'm going to do lots of rapid cuts just to show all of the shading come in. It's such a tedious process that to show the entire step by step on the entire drawing would have just taken so long. I've got my poor pencil, but you can see it progressed there, which was a lot of fun to do. But I also had to take lots of breaks when working on this because it is a little bit hard in your hands. That the repetitive motion can be very, very frustrating to create. And of course, last but not least, making sure that I'm, again, aware of the dark areas in the scene. The dark areas really make the light areas stand out more. You've got amazing contrast that way. You're going to create the shadow beneath the snout, which sticks out of the bear head, and that's also going to add some more depth to the scene. A little bit, being a bit careful around the teeth to make sure they also stand out as white. But that's pretty much it. You've got this amazingly, hopefully entertaining video to show you the progression of that drawing, making sure, of course, to be aware of texture as well. So I'm going to create the light effect on the snout, where the light's just kind of hitting the top part of the nose to create this really nice effect. But that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed that video. Please do the usual YouTube stuff. If you like the video, like, subscribe to the channel if you think that the channel deserves it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye-bye.